Hello, welcome to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. For this upload, we will be reading 1 Samuel chapter 20. And David fled from Naioth and Ramah, and came and said before Johnathan, What have I done? What is mine iniquity? And what is my sin before thy father, that he seeketh my life? And he said unto him, God forbid, thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing, either great or small, but that he will shew it me. And why should my father hide this thing from me? It is not so. And David swore moreover and said, Thy father certainly knoweth that I have found grace in thine eyes. And he saith, Let not Johnathan know this, lest he be grieved. But truly, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, there is but a step between me and death. Then said Johnathan unto David, Whatsoever thy soul desireth, I will even do it for thee. And David said unto Johnathan, Behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. But let me go, that I may hide myself in the field unto the third day at even. If thy father at all miss me, then say, David earnestly asked leave of me that he might run to Bethlehem his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice there for all the family. If he say thus, It is well, thy servant shall have peace. But if he be very wroth, then be sure that evil is determined by him. Therefore thou shalt deal kindly with thy servant, for thou hast brought thy servant into a covenant of the Lord with thee. Notwithstanding, if there be in me iniquity, slay me thyself. For why shouldest thou bring me to thy father? And Johnathan said, Far be it from thee, for if I knew certainly that evil were determined by my father to come upon thee, then would I not tell it thee. Then David said to Johnathan, Who shall tell me? Or what if thy father answer thee roughly? And Johnathan said unto David, Come, and let us go out into the field. And they went out both of them into the field. And Johnathan said unto David, O Lord God of Israel, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow any time, or the third day, and behold, if there be good toward David, and I then sin not unto thee, and shew it thee, the Lord do and much more to Johnathan. But if it please my father to do thee evil, then I will shew it thee, and send thee away, that thou mayest go in peace. And the Lord be with thee, as he hath been with my father. And thou shalt not only while yet I live shew me the kindness of the Lord, that I die not, but also thou shalt not cut off thy kindness from my house forever. No, not when the Lord hath cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of the earth. So Johnathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, Let the Lord even require it at the hand of David's enemies. And Johnathan caused David to swear again, because he loved him, for he loved him as he loved his own soul. Then Johnathan said to David, Tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. And when thou hast stayed 3 days, then thou shalt go down quickly, and come to the place where thou didst hide thyself when the business was in hand, and shalt remain by the stone Ezel. And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shot at a mark. And behold, I will send a lad, saying, Go, find out the arrows. If I expressly say unto the lad, Behold, these arrows are on this side of thee, take them, then come thou, for there is peace to thee, and no hurt, as the Lord liveth. But if I say thus unto the young man, Behold, the arrows are beyond thee, go thy way, for the Lord hath sent thee away. And as touching the matter which thou and I have spoken of, behold, the Lord be between thee and me forever. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat. And the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Johnathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought, Something hath befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Johnathan his son, Wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meat, neither yesterday nor today? And Johnathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. And he said, Let me go, I pray thee, for our family hath a sacrifice in the city, and my brother, he hath commanded me to be there. And now, if I have found favor in thine eyes, let me get away, I pray thee, and see my brethren. Therefore he cometh not unto the king's table. Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan, and he said unto him, Thou son of the perverse, rebellious woman, do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse to thine own confusion, and unto the confusion of thy mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom. Wherefore now, send and fetch him unto me, for he shall surely die. And Jonathan answered Saul his father and said unto him, Wherefore shall he be slain? What hath he done? And Saul cast a javelin at him to smite him, whereby Jonathan knew that it was determined of his father to slay David. So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger, and did eat no meat the second day of the month, for he was grieved for David, because his father had done him shame. And it came to pass in the morning that Jonathan went out into the field at the time appointed with David, and a little lad with him. And he said unto his lad, Run, find out now the arrows which I shoot. And as the lad ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. And when the lad was come to the place of the arrow which Jonathan had shot, Jonathan cried after the lad, and said, Is not the arrow beyond thee? And Jonathan cried after the kid, Make speed, haste, stay not. And Jonathan's lad gathered up the arrows, and came to his master. But the lad knew not anything, only Jonathan and David knew the matter. And Jonathan gave his artillery unto his lad, and said unto him, Go, carry them to the city. And as soon as the lad had gone, David arose out of a place toward the south, and fell on his face to the ground, and bowed himself 3 times, and they kissed one another, and wept one with another, until David exceeded. And Jonathan said to David, Go in peace, for as much as we have sworn both of us in the name of the Lord, saying, The Lord be between me and thee, and between my seed and thy seed forever. And he arose and departed, and Jonathan went into the city. David asked Jonathan why Saul wants to kill him. He swears to Jonathan he has not wronged King Saul. They plan to test how King Saul feels about David. A traditional ceremony begins the following day. They decide that David will conceal himself nearby, and Jonathan will speak with his father about David. When Saul asks where David is, Jonathan explains that he went to Bethlehem to celebrate a tradition with his family. Saul is immediately enraged. Jonathan asks why he is so upset with David. Saul explains that he can't pass his inheritance to Jonathan with David still alive. Saul also throws a javelin at Jonathan, intending to kill his own son. Jonathan communicates that things are not safe. They embrace each other, wish each other well, then David flees. In the previous chapter, Saul decides at the beginning of chapter 19, he's going to kill David. It's not funny, but it's just like, this is David's manager, his boss, and he's excelled at every task that Saul has given him, and he becomes jealous of him, and now he wants to kill him, not just fire him, he wants to kill the man. He's even made friends with his son, Jonathan, and he loves his daughter, Michal. That's his wife. He asked David to bring him 100 foreskins for his daughter, and he brings 200 foreskins. He just exceeds every expectation of King Saul, and he's so jealous. He just wants to kill him. He tries to kill him for a third time in chapter 19 and twice in chapter 18. So David ends up escaping to this place with Samuel, and it's people prophesizing, and prophesizing just means people speaking under the inspiration of divinity. So God inspiring people to talk. When Saul gets to this location, the Bible says the Spirit of God overtakes him, and he gets completely naked and lays on the ground for hours. So that's the last thing that Saul did before we get to this chapter. In verses 1 through 3, David finds Jonathan and he asks, like, what did I do to Saul? Why does he want to kill me? He swears that he's never done anything to Saul for him to want to kill him, which he hasn't. Verse 4, Jonathan says he will help David any way he can. And in verses 5 through 7, they come up with a plan. There's an important ceremony coming up. David makes a plan to not attend. If Saul asks about him, Johnathan is to tell him that David went home to Bethlehem for some sort of uh, event that they were having there. They decide with this plan, if Saul gets angry, then it isn't safe for David to be there. But if he's not angry, then it's fine for David to be there. Verse 8, David says, Johnathan, you can slay me if I am guilty of wrongdoing. Verse 9 through 24, Johnathan and David plan how they would communicate. So this is an additional layer of communication. So I guess this verses 5 through 7, when they decide if Saul gets mad, that's going to be Johnathan talking to him. David is supposed to hide out nearby. And so they make an additional plan with arrows. If Johnathan shoots these arrows and they land a certain way, he's going to have another assistant there to help gather his arrows. If he says a certain phrase to this assistant, that's going to indicate to David that he's supposed to leave, he's in danger, and a different phrase is going to indicate he's safe. The night of the ceremony, the second night, Saul asked Johnathan where David is at. Johnathan tells him that David went to Bethlehem. Saul's anger was kindled. He calls his mom perverse and rebellious in chapter 30. Not chapter 30, verse 30. You son of a perverse, rebellious woman. Do not I know that you have chosen the son of Jesse to your own shame and to the shame of your mother's nakedness? Sheesh. That's a bit harsh, bro. He also tells Johnathan that Johnathan can't get his inheritance until David is dead. And then Saul tries to kill him in verse 33 by throwing a javelin or a spear at Johnathan. So Johnathan takes this to mean that it is not safe for David. So he does the thing with the arrows. He shoots the arrows, indicating that it is not safe for David to be there. They embraced each other, wished each other well, and David fled. Johnathan went into the city. This is 1 Samuel chapter 20. One thing that I'm taking from this, the King Saul, jealousy, King Saul has the ability to tell David what to do. David works for him. King Saul has access to money, to resources, to other people. He can have men come and get David. David is actually doing a good job. That inspires jealousy instead of love. Doing the right thing can sometimes inspire jealousy and no support, and actually people wanting to kill you instead of support and love and acknowledgement. So that's what I got from here. And so yeah. It's not funny, but it's just like, I can't believe this guy tried to kill David this many times, literally for nothing. Okay, well, thank you for clicking on the video. This is 1 Samuel chapter 20. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for clicking on the video. Have a wonderful day.